Yo, welcome back everyone. This is Stu42 with the continuation of our Rotarycraft setup that we were going on the last episode. So today what I'm going to do is I left it last time when we were making some canola oil. I've since got just over 2 buckets of canola oil there, which should be enough to get us going. In fact, 1 bucket is probably more than enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a steam engine, and the steam engine I'm just going to throw down over here somewhere. I've actually already got this water and an aqueous accumulator sitting there. I know I could do this with the reservoir, and I might make a water supply with the reservoir later on, but for now I'm going to stick to the tried and true aqueous accumulator just because I happen to have one sitting there. So what we need to do is we're going to need to make ourselves a, actually I'm going to put that back, so that's just going to mark where I want to put it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the steam engine first. Shouldn't be too hard to make. We just need a bunch of things. So for example, we need an impeller, which I think is made that way. Yep. We also need a condenser, which means we need liquid pipe and HSLA. So I'm going to use the liquid pipe from this as well. So back over at the work table, if we put that down there and that down there, we end up with 16 liquid pipes, which is fantastic. So now we can use the liquid pipe in the gaps and there, and there's our condenser. We're also going to need a rod, a shaft unit, some cobblestone, gold, some base panels. I've got some base panels already. I just need some gold, and I've got a shaft already. So over here we just need the shaft, the impeller, the condenser, our gold, a couple of those, and our cobblestone along the top, and there's our steam engine. Excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and throw the steam engine over here, and we're going to put it down, I don't know, that way it looks good, red for the output side, fantastic. We're going to need to hook up the water to it, so let's grab our pipe. Now I'm using this pipe just because it works, you know. There's our water creeping in. So in order to get this going, I'm going to need to put a lava underneath it to heat it up. That should be enough, but what I'm going to do is, I'll put that lamp there, is I might add a heat sink as well. So I know if we push F3 here, we're in extreme hills, and it is snowing outside. You can see on the mini-map there, so it is quite cold already. You can see the temperature there in the tooltip at the top says 25 degrees, and the fuel is filling up nicely. So what we're going to do is have our heat sink ready. So we just need to look for heat sink. No, one word. No. What are we looking for? No, maybe it's called something else. Cooling fins. There we go. Cooling fins. So cooling fins are made with either copper and tin or a bunch of base panels and shafts, and you get 3 out of that. So what I might do is I'll use the base panels and shafts method. So we'll grab some of those and grab some of those. And do we need the work table? Alright, so we need to go back to the work table, put the shafts down, those down, and now we've got some cooling fins which we can use later on. Now the other thing I've done since I was last on is I've managed to go out in the nether and find myself some blaze rods. So I've managed to make this ender pouch here with blue on it, and over here we just have this ender chest, and all I'm using this for is to store tools and blocks and other bits and pieces like that, so I don't have to carry everything around with me. So now that we've got quite our cooling fins, we're going to need a bucket for a start. So let's get the bucket because we're going to need some lava. Let's just steal one from there. What else are we going to need? That should be it to just get the steam engine running, and at least we can see how well this thing's working. So we're going to go break and break, throw the lava underneath. I'm going to block that up, and now we watch. And this temperature should start rising, and we should start seeing something happen out this other side. So there's the temperature, 59, 61. You can see it at the top, the temperature's starting to rise. So we're getting up to, hopefully we'll just get our cooling fins ready just in case. Because we don't want this to blow up. These can blow up and cause some nasty explosions. So we're getting towards 100 degrees, which is when we start getting steam. There we go. So what I might do is I might throw that cooling fin on. And look at that. 115, 14, 16. Oh, it's fighting. Let's see where we get to. 120, 119, 120. Awesome. So that looks like we're stabling there at about 120. Now, in a different biome, you might need more cooling fins. For instance, if you're in the desert or savanna, those are pretty hot biomes. You're going to need possibly 2 or more cooling fins even to make sure that your engine is cool enough and doesn't blow itself up. But for now, that is fantastic. The fuel is staying full. We have the temperature stable. We got some stuff coming out. That's all good. So the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to leave the grinder there. We're going to take those out. We're going to grab, if we put the bucket in there, the bucket in there should give us some. What happens if we shift click? No. Maybe it has to be running in order to do that. Alright, so let's just put a little bit of power in, and then what do we need? The transducer. So it's outputting not a lot. Let's just crank that up. That's now going. And then there we go, we got a lubricant. So that's interesting. We have to have this going. So let's just grab the other bucket as well. So off, on, just enough to run it to get the lubricant out. Now we can just turn this off because we're done with that. So we're going to move this grinder, now that we've got the lubricant out of it, we're going to move this grinder over here. But the problem that we have is that the grinder takes or needs 4,000 watts of power. Now while this steam engine here is actually producing 16,000, it's producing 4 times the amount of power we need, it is going only 32 newton meters. It's actually doing 512 rads per second. Now we actually need 128 newton meters of torque for the grinder, which is 4 times what this is outputting. Now what we can do is we can put a set of gears here, a 4:1 gear ratio, and that 4:1 gear ratio will take the speed down by 4, but it'll actually take the power, the force up by 4. So you can't change the power of an engine. Once the power is, this is how many watts the engine is, that's the power. You are stuck with that. But you can fiddle with the speed and fiddle with the torque in order to adjust what you need. So for this one, we are going to do a 4:1 gearbox. And a 4:1 gearbox is going to need a bunch of things. So, oops. So I think from memory, if we have, actually I will check this. So we need to have gear. So we're looking for a 4 times gear unit. Now it is 2 times gear units and shafts. The 2 times gear unit is like that. So we need the shafts like that. 1 2 times gear unit. Some more gears. A shaft, and done. So that's 2 times gears. And then we need a shaft, our 2 times gears, and this will give us our 4 times gear unit. Now the 4 times gear unit, when we go into a gearbox, let's have a look at the gearbox. We just need the gear unit and a mount, the mount being the HSLA and 1 base plate. So we've got the base plate, and there we have our mount. And then back over in our work table, we have the mount, the gear unit, and we have our steel 4:1 gearbox. So what we want to do over here is we actually don't want to run this gearbox with this running. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have to make another bucket to take the lava out of there. And I'll show you why in a second, because what ends up happening this gearbox needs lubricant. So if you run the gearbox without lubricant, it gets damaged and then it can't produce the ratio that you need. And if we can't produce the ratio that we need, this whole experiment is useless. So what I need to do is I need to wait for the temperature to cool down on this till it stops. And then once it's stopped, we can put the gearbox in place, get everything tweaked and ready to go. And then once it's ready to go, so let's just copy out that side so I can put the lava back in. So that's now stopped. That's fantastic. So what we can do with this 4:1 gearbox is now we can place it down. Green is output, so I think I actually need the screwdriver. So I can switch it. There we go. Green is input, red is output. Yes, red is output. And now we need the grinder as well. And where's our grinder gone? There it is. The grinder can go in there. Excellent. And now, very important, we need to make sure that the lubricant is in there. So if I grab this lubricant bucket and right click, you can see the little texture changed in there. And now, see at the top it says 1000 millibuckets of lubricant and damage 0%. Now that damage is very, very important. So what we can now do is when I shift right click with the screwdriver, it should tell me shift left click. No, left click. Okay, so something's wrong with this. This shift right click should be telling me what mode it is in and switching between. So there, 4:1 gearbox outputting powers received from the steam engine and 25 degrees. So it's not telling me whether it's in power mode or speed mode. So I'm going to need to just take a guess at this point and put the lava back underneath. Let's throw the canola seeds in the grinder. Now, once these things are lubricated, I don't think it uses up the lubricant. I think it's fine to just have the lubricant in there and running. Let's check the temperature of this. What I might do is I might just pop that off because it will heat up faster. 55, 57. Now, if this is in the right mode, the grinder will start spinning. If it's not in the right mode, then we'll know to shift right click it with the screwdriver, and that should change it between the different modes. Because it's a 4:1 ratio, we'll either be changing the speed by 4:1 or changing the torque by 4:1, and you can switch between the two of them. Oh, so it's good. Now we need to make sure we have the cooling fin on, and now this is let's go here. And this is receiving the right power, speed, and torque, and it is running. So we are now good to go with this. We are just producing canola oil without needing that extra industrial coil that we were using before. And let's seal that back up. So this is now a perfectly running unit. This will now run all the time, and we'll slowly produce more and more lubricant for this. Excellent, and it is using a little bit of lubricant, so we're not going to get away with just leaving this. We are going to have to monitor this lubricant. One of the things we can actually do though, if we want to be tricky, is, oh, so you get hurt when you go on top of it. If I put this here and go around to the other end, or is it on top? Or is it on the bottom? Now there should be. So containment pipe, liquid pipe, suction pipe, valve. I think it is just this. Liquid pipe. Now there is a way of getting this to work where it'll just pipe the liquid straight out. Maybe it is... it's a different sort of product. Lubricant hose. So that needs wood and glass. So what I might do is I might just quickly make one of those. Let's throw that back in. Oh, hurt myself. So let's quickly go back over here, grab ourselves some wood. I think it is just... Oh, let's have a look. It's in the work table, so we have to use the work table. We'll quickly grab some lubricant hose. And now when we go back over here, we should be able to put that on top. No, it needs to go on the end. So yeah, that block there is probably not ideal. But now when we look over here at the lubricant 907, so that's... Once this is done, there we go, 903. So these lubricant hoses actually hold a bit of lubricant as well. So this will gradually fill everything up. So 160, it sort of levels everything out over all the devices. I'm not entirely sure how that works just yet. I might just try and do it. Oh, that's interesting. There we go. That's a much nicer way of doing it, just like that. So now we have, there we go, over a bucket of lubricant in there now, 1,172. That's fantastic. And we're also producing lubricant here just fine. So that'll go through, fill up, and then drain out. So it is draining into here. The gearbox. Oh, there we go. It tells us how much lubricant it can hold. So it can hold 24 buckets. That's quite a bit of lubricant. And this also tells us which mode we're running in, torque mode. So that's the mode that we want. 0% damage. Everything's running fine. Now if I do shift right click it with the screwdriver and then just right click it, we're now on speed mode. And in speed mode you'll notice we haven't got anywhere near enough torque. We've got plenty of speed, the right sort of power, but it's the wrong sort of power. We're giving too much speed and not enough torque. So shift right click again and then right click. We're on torque mode. Torque mode has the right, the right values we need for everything. This is going to produce quite a bit of oil and lubricant, and this is just going to keep lubricating itself until this is full. And once this is full, we can then just start taking the lubricant for our other projects that we're going to need this for. And this is staying nice at 120 degrees as well. Excellent. So that's it for this episode. I think it's a very good sort of place to cut the episode here. I can now dismantle all of this. I don't need it anymore. And this is my little canola oil or lubrication oil plant for when I need lubrication for some of the other devices that we're going to make in upcoming episodes. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.